Okay, today we're going to talk about thermostat. What I found is important. Now, there are a few videos that actually people make their own called a fail-safe or a peephole. Okay, what they mean about fail-safe is that sorry, these has already been cut because I actually modified if you look at it, pretty much the same thing right there. I modified our bypass. So if you're looking to bypass these, and if you live in a warm climate or a hot climate and it's always warm, you don't actually need your heater. So you can actually bypass it and make your engine runs a lot cooler. Although there are arguments about saving fuel and things like that, but then you would have to wait it all out, either fuel saving or engine saving. In my case, I'd rather have engine saving. But here's the thing, a lot of people don't know, is that the engine will adjust your fuel. So for some people saying that when bypassing this, the car is going to be cooler, fuel's going to waste more, blah 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 blah. That's actually not true, because like I said, once it detects the once it gets to a certain temperature, it's starting to adjust on itself. That also caused by the coolant temperature sensor as well. So it's kind of give and take, but on my take here, that would be up to you on that. But what I found important about these is that these cheap ones, like the stand ones right here, and if you look really close, there's no hole there at all whatsoever. Now look at the picture. Okay. Now look at the picture and you see there's a little thing there. Okay, on the picture, I circled it. That is actually a fail-safe. And now we're gonna go back to the one I cut before. And it looks something like this right here. You see that? This little thing right here actually would save a lot of water pumps out there. Because here, if you look at this one, there's nothing there. And you even look at this one, there's nothing there. And what it is it traps the water in there and it creates a lot of pressure. And if you see the video coming, you will see that I always find that around the engines is always wet, and I was wondering why. And what happened is, when we went for a cheaper thermostat, it didn't have that hole. It didn't have this little hole right here. Okay? Right there. And you see how it's wiggling around? When there's enough pressure and it was too much pressure, this actually would burst out and let some of the pressure out. And that's why they call it a fail-safe. Now, some people would take these, because they don't have them, and drill, I don't know, a 1/8 hole right here to release that pressure. Okay? Because once it gets too hot, it has nowhere to go. And that's why gaskets around the water pump and things like that, even on the engine itself, failed because it didn't have this hole. And it's very important. I don't know how much I can stress that from what I'm learning, but these cheap ass ones, if you buy the cheap ass one like these right here, your water pump, your gaskets and things like that will fail faster than having, believe it or not, been having this little hole right here. So on the next video there, I'm going to show you the before I've done this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole into this, and I'm going to install that back into the car. And what happened is, when it reaches a certain temperature, it'll pass through just like this right here. So that way, sort of like burping, a burp hole. I would say then, a burp hole and a fail-safe. And what happened is, if there's any air bubbles or things like that in the engine, it actually burped right through itself too. So it's actually two benefit from having this little hole right here. Now this is more expensive, and I was an idiot to cut it. I cut it because I had to bypass this, and they stamped this in, so I can't really redo it again, because look how they do it. Very hard. This is for another car that I bypassed. So you notice I actually bypassed a few already, not just this one. Anyway, so to make a note of that, if you buy the cheap ones, this was $7, and the one that if you buy the good one is like $15 to $18. I believe this one was $18. And all this is just the same thing. Well, these are better quality, I can tell, but also, like I said, it has a fail-safe hole, and I guess that's why they cost more. But the only thing different is that little hole right there. That's it. So what you do is take a drill, your drill bits, like 1/8, I believe, or even I don't know, maybe, I think this is like 3mm, I guess, and drill a hole right through here. All you need is a small hole. That's it. Some people actually drill 2 holes on both sides, 2 small holes on both sides. You can do that too, because then it'll even it out a little bit. But small ones, okay, don't drill them big, because like I said, it's a fail-safe hole or a burp hole, not a bypass hole, and you don't want that. If you live in the cold, I mean, yeah, if you live in a cold climate. But if you live in a hot climate, what I did was, in my other video I had it, I just cut this right here and take this whole contraption out right here. I cut this and I cut that, and it's a totally thermostat bypass. All you actually really need this ring so you can put them back together. But the problem is, in this ring here, it has a gap in them. So by cutting the whole thing, that's where you would get the bypass right there. And the engine in the summer, boy, it works really good. It's always cool, because the coolant's always passed. The only thing you don't have is your heat. It takes a long time to heat up the car. As you bypass it, so that's what happened. But that's how that works. So I'm gonna go to the next video that I shoot earlier, before I went through and do this right here.